4 minutes. The first 10 to 20 seconds is the worst. Why do you do hard things? What's the whole concept of doing hard things? And really it's to give you perspective. So a lot of you know the story, but I want to tell a quick story. Back when I was a sophomore in college, I went skydiving. Went in a plane, got up to 4,000 feet, I went static line. That means I'm attached to the airplane. So when I jump, it automatically pulls the ripcord for you. We're flying at about 80 miles an hour, is about as slow as you can fly a Cessna 182 safely. So we're at 4,000 feet, we're flying at 80 miles an hour, the instructor opens the door, right? And I remember doing that, and I let go, and I'm sure I balled up, which is the normal human response when you're scared and you're falling. But I remember kind of blacking out for a second. When I woke up, I mean, it's like, whoa, I'm falling here, and my chute is not open. It's all tangled up. And I remember we talked about that in the class. The riser, the thing that goes above your shoulder that keeps the cords from tangling, was all twisted up, so the chute was a ball instead of a nice wing. Right, so we talked about this in class. You can bicycle kick your legs, spin around a little bit, try and untangle it, so I did. But the chute was tangled up, I got it undone. 9 cells, but only 7 filled. The end 2 cells didn't fill with air. They're flapping in the wind, but it's like, okay, we talked about that. I did a steering controllability test. So I can, there's 4 minutes, right? Pretty fast. I'm gonna keep going. I'll sit in here for a little longer. I'll freeze to death. I did a steering and controllability test with the chute. I stalled out. I was like, oh, I don't want to do that again. That was freaky, but it worked. It's like, okay, I'm gonna stick with this chute. I don't want to pull the reserve. I had an earpiece in my ear, and my jump instructor on the ground has never said a word this whole time. My life's flashing before my eyes. I finally settle in and realize, okay, I'm gonna stick with the chute. I'm not gonna pull the reserve. I've got an altimeter on my wrist with a big red line at 1,200 feet, which is when you have to pull the chute. And I didn't want to pull it. So I stuck with the chute I had. Finally, I hear from my jump instructor, nice job back there. That's what he said. I'll never forget that. I was like, okay. Anyway, I finally relaxed. And it takes about 10 minutes to get to the ground after the chute's opened up. So I finally relaxed, got to look at the countryside, landed on the ground, everything was great. But my point was, I remember landing and being so thankful and so grateful that I'm alive. Like literally that I'm alive. I've never had that feeling before. I've never been like really scared to where I thought I might die for a few seconds. I've never had that. I'd never really had that feeling. So I remember this was my sophomore year in college, and it was right before finals. And I remember thinking, test didn't stress me out anymore. My car payment didn't stress me out anymore. Insurance I had to pay for my car didn't stress me out anymore. It's perspective. When you have perspective, for like the next 6 months, everything that came up was like no big deal. Because I remember my thought was, am I gonna die in this deal? Well, no. Well, then how bad could it be, right? Financial stress, grades, school. I mean, all the things that college kids stress out about. When you have perspective of, wait a minute, I might die here for a minute. Everything else actually pales in comparison. So I think it's a really good lesson going into 2023 is to have perspective. Do something hard, whether it's an ice bath like this, or you push yourself at the gym, or you go for a longer run than normal, or you start writing in a journal, you make yourself write every single day, and you're not used to that. That gives you perspective, and I think it's really valuable in life. So this year for me, I'm gonna be more assertive in my life, and I'm gonna use the perspective that I have to make sure I'm maximizing my results. That's our ice bath for today. See my shorts? I'm hoping it was gonna warm me up a little bit. The tropical feel.